Welcome back, everyone, to Delta Y. This week we'll be talking about
Gene therapy that promotes nerve regeneration.
and the mother of all data breaches exposing 773 million emails.
I'm Grayson,
This is Josh.
and welcome to Delta Y. So our first article today is going to be about what's being called the mother of all breaches, which has exposed roughly 773 million emails and 21 million passwords. This comes to us from Gizmodo. Josh, you want to start us out?
Absolutely. So this happened because of the site Mega, which is a popular cloud service. A lot of us have heard of it or used it even. And what happened was that a bunch of people had their passwords compromised. And basically what they did was they used combos to try to figure out, the hackers figured out what passwords would be used with what emails. And they were able to access, like Grayson said, 772 million emails and 21 million passwords.
Well, I think they'd be able to only access 21 million accounts, but they still got a lot of emails.
Exactly. Well, people also repeatedly use, whatever password fits. And
True.
often people copy passwords. So often people will be using the same password, even, if it's a different account. You can actually, now you can see if your password's been found.
Yeah, there's an application called Have I Been Pwned, but made by a guy called Troy Hunt.
And it's kind of funny to look at because it'll figure out if it's seen your password before. Yeah. And it'll actually tell you, if it's seen your password in a data breach, it will not recommend using it for anything.
Yeah. That's kind of interesting. Going like that, I would have thought that there've been bigger breaches, but with a site like Mega, a normal file sharing site that most people use on a pretty regular basis, I would have thought that their security would have been a little bit better.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. And what was it? It was first reported by Troy Hunt, who's a security researcher.
That runs that Have I Been Pwned site.
Yep, he runs that Have I Been Pwned. And he set it up to see, where was it compromised. Well, he found that 12,000 separate files and 87 gigabytes of data had been uploaded to Mega.
87 gigs.
Yep, uploaded to Mega. And that data was then posted to a popular hacking forum and was an amalgamation of 2,000 databases. And so what the weird thing was that these databases contain dehashed passwords, which means the method used to scramble those passwords into unreadable strings had been cracked.
Why don't they?
So they essentially,
So they didn't use something that was common like SHA-256 or another common encryption algorithm that could be like basically uncrackable. They didn't use that. They used something that's pretty common.
They used, a simple encryption service. And, obviously this is interesting because it could lead to more, vulnerability for people that have been, had their accounts taken and hacked. And they're looking at, could this affect people in other ways? So it's obvious that, if someone's using their email and this password, often hackers, the first thing they'll try is, I have this email. Let's try it on these. They set up sites and they'll figure out, all right, let's try this site, and this site. So, this is something you're definitely aware of because that's a huge amount of data. It's called a mega breach. It's not even just a normal breach.
Yeah, mega breach, both because of the size and because of the company, I guess would be a fitting name for it, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that is interesting. I would have thought that Mega being a more commonly used site for just file sharing in general, that's pretty much on par with what a lot of people use with Google Drive even.
Oh, when did this looks like it has an update at the bottom if you look down there.
So 3:42 p.m. Eastern time. So,
it gets worse. So
Brian Krebs.
The data is reporting to offer 6 more batches of data, selling almost. So this person who hacked is selling almost a terabyte of stolen and hacked passwords, which is, needless to say, a lot.
Yeah, that's okay, but makes me wonder if that's just from Mega or if it's also from several other sites that these hackers had gotten their fingers into.
Yeah, and it's not stated down here in this article, so it's definitely something it's hard to figure out there. But that's still an enormous amount of data.
Well, it's 2 to 3 years old, so or at least that's what the update says. It's 2 to 3 years old, so it could be that the data there is a little bit outdated in terms of password use, because there have been a lot of breaches since then that people should or would have been notified that their password needs to be changed because of it. So the severity of this might be less than what they're currently stating it as.
Yeah, we don't know for sure. I mean, obviously it could be just as serious as they say, but a lot of times these articles do tend to stretch it a little bit for, the general public to see, they're often trying, it's just the writer, like it's the writer mindset when you're writing for journalism, as you try to engage as many people as possible. So often you end up, exploding your facts a little bit.
Or sensationalizing it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. That being said, though, I would recommend that any of our listeners get a password manager or something like a physical password book. I've got one of those myself, and I keep it in a safe. That way it's unreadable for most people, and it's not able to get hacked. So just something that you're able to memorize your passwords and keep each one separate.
And it's a nice reminder to remember, don't use the same password for everything. I mean, you want to have a different password for just about everything, and it's always good to not repeat passwords. Sometimes it's hard, but just look around your room and go, oh, I could use that as a password. So I think that's just a good message to think about and something to kind of dwell on. But anyway, you want to move on to our next article, Grayson?
Something a little bit more hopeful, I guess you could say. Gene therapy promoting nerve regeneration. This comes to us from Science Daily out of the Netherlands Institute for Neuroscience, where researchers have shown that treatment using gene therapy leads to faster recovery after nerve damage. And by combining that with surgical repair procedures, the survival of nerve cells and regeneration of nerve fibers over a long distance was stimulated. So this discovery is basically an important step towards the development of a new treatment for people with nerve damage. That, to me, seems really, like, if we aren't able to get prosthetics up to a point where, or at least not even prosthetics, just, like, we've seen exosuits right now where we can help quadriplegic or paraplegic peoples walk.
Or even non-paralyzed people where they can, do more.
Yeah.
We have, across the world, they're creating, exoskeletons for tasks for the military, for industry, where people are able to lift hundreds of pounds with ease because of these. And so,
yeah, but
this is getting back on track. I mean, obviously, Grayson's talking about how, we could lessen the use. We wouldn't need this sort of
we wouldn't need these medical exosuits that already cost hundreds of thousands of dollars just to produce, let alone have it be on a medical or even consumer market.
Easily. I mean, most of those exosuits that people end up wearing are often, hundreds of thousands of dollars. They can even get close to $1 million.
Just one suit. Just one person. Yeah, no, that'd be... And, well, it also depends on the cost of the gene therapy itself, because I'm assuming they're using CRISPR or some version of CRISPR.
My brain usually goes, either they're using CRISPR or they're crazy and they've created something I haven't heard of yet, and it's going to change the world. Because if you're not using CRISPR at this point, you've obviously got something different. CRISPR was, back when I learned about it, the best thing you can use pretty much for this option.
Well, okay, there's actually something in here about a stealth gene switch. So normally gene switches. So to overcome the problem of immune system recognizing and removing the gene switch, this is basically the gene switch that's allowing for the stimulation of new nerve cells. I think it's a new thing. I haven't seen this anywhere before in any of the other genetics or medical articles that I've read about a stealth gene, where it's able to it doesn't explain it much in detail. It just says the stealth gene switch is an important step towards the development of gene therapy for nerve damage. That the use of the stealth switch improves gene therapy, rendering it even safer. So basically, it doesn't treat the cells that are being treated with the gene therapy as foreign.
Exactly. I think it's what they're trying to teach it to do is, can we create this gene where when we insert it, when we do the when you splice this, it has to make the entire system think it's there, like it was always there.
Well, yeah, because you're essentially creating a new body because it's not the same DNA, and your body, it's basically like a transplant. Your body can reject it. Your body would be able to reject the tissue and then begin fighting it off with white blood cells.
And that happens a lot of the time. Is if the body goes, wait, that's not supposed to be there, it'll kick it out and it'll go, nope. And it just will completely reject it. But, when these guys are saying that when they're doing a stealth switch, that's really interesting that they're going to bypass... Pretty much, they're tricking the immune system to go, oh, wait.
Well, I don't even know if it's so much that it's tricking the immune system. Maybe it's that Well, it might be that it's tricking the immune system, or maybe the immune system isn't even reading it. Like there's not enough information here. I don't even know. I haven't seen something like this before called a stealth switch. This is actually fairly new to me too. But my assumption would be that it's not so much tricking the immune system that it's there, but sort of when the immune system reads these cells or the genetic information of these cells, I'm guessing the wording of it saying that it's stealth. It skips over that specific part of the genetic code that is able to that has that portion in there that stimulates nerve cells.
That makes sense to me.
Yeah, I don't know. I could be completely off on that. If there's a biology major here watching, or someone that's in biology or knows more about biology than I do.
If anyone's taken more than, a semester of biology, let us know below. Yeah. I mean, I'll take a look through them and see if anyone leaves anything for us. But, I mean, I was just doing a little research while Grayson was talking there, and it looks like the stealth switch, obviously, is just, these guys' wording of it. But, if I'm thinking about this right, they're talking about how it overcomes the problem of the immune system recognizing and removing the gene. Mm-hmm. So what I think they're doing is, what they do is they look at what's there. They take they take how it looks, right? Because you know how an immune system would recognize it. Mm-hmm. You take that and you put your new piece in, but you leave that kind of layer where it looks exactly the same to the immune system, but it is fundamentally different. Therefore, when the immune system...
the genetic code's the same, but the sort of outer layer of the cell is different.
Exactly. Well, yeah, basically what they're just trying to do is, by switching this when the immune system won't be testing for it, then if the immune system tests for it later, often the body is weird. Like, I don't even understand how this really works, but I'm trying to, rationalize it where, perhaps they're doing it so it's able to adapt. Mm-hmm. And, they could theoretically be altering the immune system slightly, too. Mm-hmm. So it's hard to say exactly how they're doing this.
All right. Wow. That is quite a lot of information. But they actually could combine this with neurosurgical repair. They've already done this in rats, and they've basically been able to perform neurosurgical repair on dying nerve cells that can be rescued, and the nerve fiber growth in the direction of the muscle can be stimulated. So they actually used regulatable gene therapy with a growth factor that can be switched on and off by using a widely used they used an antibiotic? Interesting. I guess. That is, well, I haven't actually ever heard of that, because I think that might actually rule out CRISPR. Because CRISPR is like an adenosine attenuated virus, and a virus would be kicked out by a commonly... I don't know if that common antibody would kick out CRISPR, or at least fight CRISPR in some way. But that, to me, seems like it rules out CRISPR.
Yeah, definitely. So, it's hard to say exactly, how this could be, done. But obviously, we'll keep up to date on it. And, maybe next week or in a couple of months, we'll be able to see how this changes and
provide a bit of an update for what it is, or what a better information for the viewers as to what exactly this is.
And obviously, we'll keep you guys updated, but we'll want to see how this goes, and we'll keep you updated, check back in maybe a month or so, see if they've made any progress. And to see exactly, how they're splicing this in, because it's interesting to me, obviously. I've taken, biology courses in the past, so it'll be interesting to see how this changes it. But, as always,
I'm Grayson.
This is Josh, and thank you for listening to Delta Y.
Stay creative, and we will see you next time.